Right. A lot of young females are very sad at the moment because one of their heroes has kicked the bucket, as they call it. By kick the bucket, I mean died. The One Direction star Liam Payne, and he's 31. But the reason why I'm so sad is not about that. I can assure you. It's the I'm not going to mention any. I'm not going to mention any names because you got to be careful about mentioning people's names online. But it's the person who in my family who's passed away is my mother's twin brother, and it has. I've not cried about it, but I have. It has upset me a great deal. I didn't feel like going to bed last night. I was that sad. His daughter told me on Facebook that he passed away on Thursday, and he was 80. He had bowel cancer. That was probably the chief thing, the factor that brought about is she mentioned heart failure on her Facebook page as well. But he was nearly 80. Well, it would have been 80 if it lived until the 19th of November. He would have been 81, but he didn't make it that far. But it's so sad because it was more than just a relative to me, really. I mean, my mother actually cried more. I think my mother was more, seemed to be more upset by the death of one of her sisters than the death of my father. And she did used to argue with me dad like cat and dog sometimes, really. But she did cry a bit when she found out he was going to die, but it wasn't much. And she actually cried more when she found out when one of her sisters had died. And I don't think my uncle's death is affected me more than what my mother's death is. It's probably just about the same, really. The thing is, my mother was one of those mothers who just keep the sons living at home. They keep the sons living at home with them because they think nobody else would want them. It's like that a film that I could give you a couple of examples on film and television. I mean, I went to see a film about the life of L.S. Lowry. When my friend and his mother had the same sort of attitude where she thought, no, nobody else is going to want him. I'm going to keep him all to myself. And also, there was a sitcom on in the 80s called Sorry. And it starred Ronnie Corbett as this librarian called Timothy Lumsden. He's 48, and his mother wants to keep him under her thumb, as it were. She wants to keep him living at home, wearing short pants or whatever, and she wants to mollycoddle him, protect him from the outside world. But at the end of this series, he finally elopes. Well, if he can call it eloping because he's not getting married, he goes off in this hot air balloon with a woman and escapes with her, and he's finally got away from his mother. Well, I live with my mother. My mother kept me under her roof or under her thumb for as long as what she possibly could, because she thought that because of my Asperger's syndrome, I wasn't ready to take on adult responsibilities. But I have found it difficult taking on adult living on my own in some. I started living on my own when I was 45. I tell you what happened. To go through a brief run through of what happened at the time. My mother had a second stroke, and I went into this respite home called Lethbridge Green in Northwich. My social worker came to, and they were charging me more than 300 quid a week to stay in there. My social worker came to see me one day and says, she told me that because I was over 18, I didn't have to stay in respite homes if I didn't want to. I could just go back, stay in my mother's old house. And I thought, great. I couldn't believe me luck. I just wanted to get out of this. I just wanted to get away from these respite homes. They're like children's homes, really. You feel, when you're in a respite home, you feel as if you're a big kid in a children's home. I know some people have to go in them when they're older. Anyway, because they can't live on their own. Anyway, my social worker came to see me. She said she fancied leaving here and just going back in staying at your mother's old house. Well, I said yes, I will. And I went to stay at my mother's old house. And I remember the first time I slept there. And my mother was in hospital at the time, and I slept in the house on my own with no one. And it was the first time I slept in there with no one else. Slept in the house with no one else there. The first time I'd gone to bed in the house with nobody else there. It was like a whole new experience. And anyway, the next month, when it was 46, my mum finally passed away, and her house became mine because she passed her entire estate on to me in a will. So her house became mine. And I remember I went to Raysheath College doing this gardening course, and at the time I was having driving lessons for the first time and courting for the first time. This woman says, this woman says, don't you feel your life all coming together? Because I was doing things that had never been allowed or encouraged been given any encouragement to do. Because my mother was one of those women who thought nobody else would want my son. It's because all my life I've been treated as though I'm inferior to a certain extent, because I have got this form of autism, and it does make me different in some ways. And I got picked on when I was at school. Everyone like me gets picked on at school to a certain extent. It's impossible for it not to happen. Anyway, I told him before over the phone before he died. He'd seen a side of me that my mother just never got to see, because she never trusted me to take on adult responsibilities because of my condition. And I told him, you've seen a side of me that my mother never got to see. He's seen me. Because he's seen me move out of my mother's old house and get my own flat. And he's seen me coping reasonably well. He didn't think driving was the right thing for me, because after I had my accident, I got my own car, which other people had to accompany him because it had a no plate on it, and I had an accident. No one was actually hurt in this accident. My car was a write-off, but it was him who told me in the end that he didn't think driving was the right thing for me, because the conditions on the roads are much more hazardous what they used to be when he started driving when he was a teenager. But I'm closer to him than my mother in some ways, because he has. It's like I said, he has seen a side of me that my mother just never got to see. He's seen me become independent, stand on my own 2 feet, take on adult responsibilities. My mother never got to see that, really. I did tell her that was living on my own just before she died, but I think she was too poorly to take in properly what I was saying to her. But anyway, he's no longer with us now. My mother, who was his twin sister, was 71 when she died, and he was 80. But it has saddened me. It has really. I was expecting it any time, really. But it's really. Could you say what's the expression? Saddened me to the core. But the subject of this video is, I'm so sad. I mean, I am sad because somebody who I could talk to about my progress. I couldn't talk to my mother about the progress I was making because she was gone, but I could talk to him. But now he's gone as well, and that's what's made me so sad.